Professor Meloni. It is great pleasure and privilege to be here at the European Academy of Religion annual conference. I'm very grateful, Professor Meloni, for our outstanding cooperation in various fields like IF20, which is basically a Religion 20 association which is influencing G20 decisions from religious point of view. So I will just a little bit explain how do we do the bridge building between science and religion in a conference of European churches, which was founded in 1959, and the seat is in Brussels, and we have about 120 members, Orthodox and Protestant and Anglican churches from 40 European countries. And basically our organization is something like a European Parliament. We have all positions from far left to far right, and of course we practice diplomacy every single day. Because to bridge these different positions, one needs lots of patience, good humor, and good brandy. Otherwise, it's very difficult sometimes to manage all at once. So, and this is reality. So, how do we do it? So, as I work as human rights advocate at the Conference of European Churches, I have been dealing with really long-standing cases which are not going to be solved in our lifetime. And for that purpose, discussing difficult issues in an open and honest as possible manner, we have created Summer School for Human Rights. And of course, we all know that it's very difficult to make the bridge between religion and human rights because of the ethical questions, like abortion, like euthanasia, like bioethical issues of cloning and so on, that all religions are basically in having clear position and are not supportive of this kind of legislation developing. But of course, we needed safe space with religious leaders and, let's say, scientists and academics can bring their opinion in open, let's say, and honest manner. Now, we had lots of obstacles providing this space because, of course, for religious leaders to listen the voice of the science an open mind, it's of course a little bit challenging because in one way we have the task to follow and to monitor and contribute to the scientific research from theological point of view. On another matter, of course, we have the issue to protect the ethical points that we stand for as religious organizations. And of course, to make the bridge, it's not easy, as I said, but it is not impossible. Once that trust is created in forums like that and like this one where we are discussing these kind of topics of religious diplomacy, of course there is a fruit which it's not immediate and take many years simply to see certain level of results. And in the summer school that we have created, for many years, it was, of course, we needed to build the trust first between Christians on the Christian level, and then on the second etap, simply we brought also Jewish organizations as well as Muslim organizations to discuss anti-Semitism, to discuss anti-Muslim hatred, and to see where, as Christians also, we have self-critical points that we need to tackle within our own internal system, because we cannot pretend that everything is great and fine when we know it is not. But of course, for this type of discussions, we need space and we need independent funding. And independent funding is actually giving us possibility that we can move discussions forward, that we can move also the bridge between science and religion. And of course, we need years for that, because in many forums, I work in Brussels 17 years. I have seen many discussions about interreligious intercultural dialogues from the European institutions, European Commission, also from the Council of Europe and so on. But that's what is happening on the national level, except the family photo, which is very colorful that we get. Okay, what is the impact of that photo? That was always my question, and how that basically comes to the ground level, that people become friends. Because from, let's say, our Christian point of view, we have great commandment, love your neighbor, respect your neighbor. Asher was speaking like tolerate your neighbor as well. So how do we transmit that in practice? And therefore, we have understood actually at CAC that we don't know much about anti-Semitism, we don't know much about anti-Muslim hatred, we don't know much where the lines in terms of freedom of expression, where are the limits, so what it's offense and what it's not offense, and therefore we created this program which actually resulted with a book prior to the European elections now that we have from in June, from 6 to 9 of June, that actually we alerted churches from scientific point of view that they do not engage with populist politicians and with the views. Of course, it is okay that people think whatever they want to think, but simply to take certain points, ethical points from human rights perspective into account when they are simply giving the floors and podiums in the churches or religious communities prior to these elections. And one story that I would love to share with you today is also, as I work also very closely with Ecumenical Patriarchate, a few years ago there was a G20 forum in Bologna that Professor Meloni has organized. And he set up one fantastic topic. It was related about environmental justice. So I had a task to help preparing the lecture for His All Holiness. And Professor Meloni invited somebody from the business community, and that was a bridge between, let's say, religion and business during the G20 Interfaith Forum, from Marco Alvera, from SNAM. So my task was basically to read the book that Marco Alvera actually just published prior to this, Hydrogen Revolution. And from there on, at the faculty where I teach human rights law, I have developed the entire course, starting from there, starting from that session that Professor Meloni has set up on the right to live in clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. So that showed basically that it's possible to connect science, religion, and business. Because the last webinar that we have set up at the faculty, we had British Petrol, nuclear energy, researcher from all in Belgium, then Toyota, and Hydrogen Europe. And this question of environmental justice, it's crucial, because without reconciling with environment, we are not going to have peace. And this is very important, I think, for all of us. So thank you so much for inviting us, and we are here for you whenever needed.
Thank you.